Hi guys, please open up to this page in your notes. While you watch this video, please take notes along with the video, and just remember you can always pause and rewind because I will be going quick. So, I already taught you how to factor a polynomial. So if I give you something like if I give you something like this, right? Your GCF is 2, and you would factor out the 2, and you would get that, right? So factoring is like doing the opposite of multiplication. So if I ask you to factor something, I'd like you to take a polynomial and put it into factors. Now, before we start that, we got to discover a couple rules about this. If we're trying to multiply, if I give you two factors and we're trying to multiply it, what do we know about this first term? Well, this times this makes 2x squared, right? And then they already filled in the rest of us, so we don't have to worry about that. And this times this makes 3x squared, right? This times this makes 5x to the fourth, and this times this makes a times b. So a rule in general is, how do we determine what this first term of the product is? Well, it looks like all we did was take the first term of each of the factors and multiply. Okay, so the first term of the product comes from multiplying the first term in each factor. And so you should write that along with me. Okay, then the last, so that's one of our rules. The last term seems like it comes from, let's see, if we were to multiply this whole thing out, 4 times 3 is 12x squared, 4 times negative 2 is negative 8x, and 1 times 3 is 3x, and 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. So this right here, it all matches up, right? And then the last thing we have to fill in is this negative 2. And we might start to see a pattern that this last term is always just whatever these last terms are. So this should be plus 6. This right here, negative y times negative y, should be plus y squared. And this right here should be 1 times 1, which is 1. So how do we determine what the last term is going to be? It looks like we always take the last terms and we multiply them. So we multiply the last terms of each factor. That's another rule. Our middle term, so this one, let's see, let's multiply these two out. We get 3x squared plus 15x minus 7x minus 35. So to fill in the blank here, we have to combine these like terms, and you get negative 8x. Or, I'm sorry, positive 8x. All right, so same thing here. If we were to actually multiply this all out, you would find, and I'd like you to do this on your own, but you should get that your middle term is negative 3x plus 2x, which is negative 1x. Here you should get that your middle term is negative 15xy minus 4xy, so that's a negative 19xy. And right here, your middle term is negative 1x cubed plus 12x cubed, so we have 11x cubed. So our last rule that we're going to talk about here is the middle term. That comes from multiplying, and it looks like what we did is we took the first and the last, and then added it to the product of the first and the last. So multiplying both pairs of first and last and adding it together. That'll get you the middle term, okay? One other quick thing to note. There's one other rule that we need to know. And take a look at these the signs of these last terms, okay? The sign of C, we're calling the last term C. If you notice that the signs are positive versus if you notice that the signs are negative, okay? The sign of the last term gives us a big hint. If the signs are positive, like they are up here, the signs of your factors will always match. They'll either both be positive or both be negative. If they are negative, like they are down here, the signs of your factors will not match. One will be positive, one will be negative. Okay? So if the sign of the last term is positive, then the signs of the factors match. And if it's negative, then they do not match. All right? So, I would write that down if I were you. And actually, I wrote it down right here in a nice, nice organized kind of way, because these are the rules for factoring that we're going to use. I'd like you to pause, either screenshot this or write it down yourself somewhere in your notes, all these rules together. And then we're going to try to factor some of them on our own in the second video.